Welcome back to Bottom Line. What a monumental TLC we have for you this year. Is not one, but two titles will be on the line when you're talking about the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship, and both titles will be suspended high above the squared circle. So only one man can walk away as champion, the other empty-handed. This past week on Raw, we saw a preview of things to come in this year's TLC in tag team action, as John Cena was teamed with Randy Orton's Survivor Series opponent, Big Show, and the Viper was teamed with John Cena's Survivor Series opponent, Alberto Del Rio. Welcome back to Bottom Line. Last week on Raw, we saw CM Punk suffer a vicious attack at the hands of the Shield. This past week, CM Punk simply wanted to know why. Punk went on to state that he wants nothing to do with the Authority. In fact, he said that the Authority should not provoke this unauthoritative superstar. Meanwhile, Stephanie McMahon then would pick up a mic, and she countered by saying, "You can say whatever you want. We welcome free speech here at WWE. However, take your grievances and complaints and give them to the Director of Operations, Kane, who will be the champion of champions." Well, that'll do it for this week's show. Don't forget to join us next week when we'll have the results of this year's Slammy Awards as we head towards TLC. Until then, this is Dan Devone saying, so long, everybody. Can never have too many pitchers. Meanwhile, John Jaso, of course, suffered the concussions out in Houston. He's on the 7-day DL. What's the latest on him?
So he's just kind of in a wait-and-see pattern right now.
All right, Paul, and with the concussion epidemic these days in professional sports, you just can't take too many precautions. All right, thanks so much. Well, and he's so good in the second half of the season especially. By the way, speaking of that contract, he's due $30 million in the year 2020. I don't even know if he'll be walking by then.
I at least want him to be able to play. I mean, if I'm going to pay him that, I need him healthy.
We need Artie Moreno giving us guaranteed money in the year 2020. We'll do a pregame show for him. All right, we continue here. We'll talk Jared Parker. This man has been lights out over the last 10 starts. His numbers and stories coming up on A's Pregame Live. Let's take a look now at the divisional standings out in the American League. And right now, it's all Oakland A's as the Rangers, as I talked about, some 5 games back. Seattle now percentage points in front of the Los Angeles Angels. Could the A's potentially, I mean, we're expecting this to be a 2-team race, but could they boat race and run away and hide from people?
Well, let's hope so and look up at the A's.
And, of course, Texas coming to town for a big series next weekend. For right now, plays of the week. Let's just push play and have a look at what happened in some of the standouts on the day. Look at this bit. That's Yunel Escobar. It hasn't been that frustrating, but it's getting pretty bad for Josh Donaldson. We'll talk about his struggles. Star in the first half of the season, however, looking to find his way in the second half. We're back with A's Pregame Live after this. Seth Smith back in the DH position. Stephen Vogt is your catcher today. Eric Sogard. So much conjecture and talk about this guy potentially being replaced, but he's quietly in the midst of a 6-game hitting streak as Sogard, of course, with this sudden offense, always gives you the good defense. And Bip, I'll put this to you, is, you know, a lot of people talk about Michael Young. Are they going to get Mr. Chase Utley from Philadelphia? But this guy's making a bid to say, hey, forget about those guys. I can take you home.
They have to find a way to keep him in the lineup.
And those are the best glasses in professional sports since Kurt Rambis was rocking those things back in the 1970s. Or maybe Chris Sabo, a teammate of yours?
Yeah, teammate of mine. Booski, as we called him.
Although his look like those fighter aviator glasses. Meanwhile, having a look at Josh Donaldson, we talked about Sogard doing well in the second half. Not the same for Donaldson. What's wrong with him right now? Tommy Lasorda, look at the back of his jersey. Tommy Lasagna, how are you, my man?
Lasagna.
It's good to see you.
That's something you eat.
Yeah, by the way, how you feeling?
I feel great.
Yeah?
I really do. You know, I'll be 74 this coming September.
It's amazing.
And it scares me. I said there is impossible for a guy 73 years old to feel this good. But then I figured it all out, why I do feel good. You see, I'm really not 73, I'm 63. Tell you why. No, all those trips I taken from the east to the west, I gained 3 hours. So I total them all up, and it's 10 years. So I'm 63 and not 73. I feel great for a guy 63.
You know, I don't want to get too schmaltzy here, but I've interviewed you when you've come into Seattle the last couple of years. I haven't interviewed everybody in professional sports, but I've never come across a guy who is as talented, one of the best to ever play the game, and as humble and as genuine as you are as a character. And it's been a pleasure, seriously,
thank you.
talking to you, and the best of luck to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
All right, Tony Gwynn, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll continue with much more, but right now we're going upstairs, and let's join Scott and Leslie.